Hello and welcome. My name is Jesse McClanahan. Today we're going to be making these leather moccasin boots. Let's get started. Alright, so I have many projects kind of in the works in my brain and things I'm working on getting supplies for and stuff. But this is one of those projects where I was just scrolling and it caught my eye and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make some of these. So you saw in the thumbnail, it's a pair of moccasin, like little booties, but like a mid-top type deal. I don't want to call them boots, but I also don't want to call them like a traditional low-top moccasin. It's like a little mid-top kind of boot type deal. I was scrolling and I came across these and they seemed pretty easy enough to make. And then I realized that my slippers are pretty much that in the classic short top version I was just talking about. So what I went and did was kind of use this as my reference to build out my templates the way I want. So I ended up tracing out a nice little foot pattern here. It's slightly different, smaller than this, because this is you know, I ordered these offline, so they're a little bit bigger than I like. Also, they're not going to be, there's this fuzzy lining in these, which are I'm not going to do. Obviously, I'm just going to do classic leather. You know, if it works out, maybe I can make some nicer ones that are fuzzy and on the insides and whatnot. What I went along and did was basically use this shoe as my reference, and I got the sole pieces. I'm going to do two of these. I'm going to do an outer and an inner out of my thicker stuff that I have, leather that I have. I think that'll be plenty to, even if you want to take these outside and walk in the, you know, grass, dirt, gravel, whatever, I think it'll be fine. I also found a couple references. Most of them are super simple, basically three-piece design. One being the sole. I'm gonna have two soles, so technically that's two pieces. And then the upper, which will end up being the tongue as well. And then the main outer, which is one big piece, and then we'll do a seam on the back side, like a classic, basically any shoe. That's how most shoes are constructed. The only real thing that I'm kind of concerned about is making sure I can get the side to the bottom correctly and placed in the right position, because I don't want the sides to be like offset and weird. You know, I'm gonna try and line it up as best as I can. If I have to, I can do a little trimming, I suppose. It won't make that big of a deal, I don't think. I've never tried anything like this before, so it's definitely gonna be an interesting journey. The next step, since I've got my templates pretty much done, is I'm gonna start cutting out some leather. I'm gonna start off with the thick soles, and then the sides and the uppers will be a lot thinner piece. I'm also gonna do a trim piece on the top to clean it off real nice, and then I might do a seam down the back to clean up that seam, or I might leave it just overlapped. Let's get to carving some leather. Alright, so I got all my pieces cut out. I ended up cutting out the other side of the shoes. I wasn't sure at first, but I'm just gonna, I think it'll work out just fine, I think. I didn't punch holes on the insoles. I was gonna stitch all three pieces together, but the insoles are, like both layers are made out of this really thick stuff I have. I can't remember the exact weight, but I think that'd be super hard to try to work all through all three layers. So I think I'm just gonna stitch the outer to the main sole, and then just simply insert these as like normal insoles. If anything, I'll glue them down a little bit and insert them that way, and I think that'll work out just fine. Right now, we still have some more prep I have to do. Next step is gonna be dyeing all this stuff up. I did go ahead and punch holes and everything already, and I went actually and did like the simple little tread pattern on the bottom. You know, super simple, but just enough to give a little something, a little design aspect as well. But I'm gonna start dyeing all this stuff up. I'm gonna stamp the inside and the insoles with my maker's mark and all that. And then after we finish dyeing, I'm gonna do some edge work on the soles and stuff. The rest of the finishing work will have to be done afterwards, after all the seams come together real nice, and I might have to do some trimming and stuff at the very end. But we're gonna start with like a light brown for most of this stuff, and then I'm gonna do this dark mahogany color. It's like a reddish brown, real dark brown, as like my base color, and I'm gonna do like a black on top of that. I want like a really nice dark, almost completely black boot type deal is what I'm gonna go for. So let's get going. All right, so we got our pieces all dyed up real nice. As you saw, I first did with the mahogany, and then I did a dark black on the edges and kind of blended it into the middle, and then I went over it at the end. My camera died at the end there, but I went over it with the mahogany again, really to just really, it's almost completely black, but if you look, there is a little bit of a tint there that's not completely solid black. Now I am gonna start sewing this thing together. I don't really know how I'm gonna line this up quite perfectly. I might pin it together. I might be able to just, I think I can get it pretty close if I just go for it. I can kind of line it up here, and I think I am gonna have a good amount of overlap for this back seam. I didn't put holes on this side, but I think I'm gonna have to do that before, so I can mark them from the inside before I do that final seam, and I'll just pull this back out and re-punch the holes once I get everything completely where it needs to be, and I know exactly where to punch those extra holes. Right now we're just gonna slowly try to line this up, and then we're just gonna put a couple pins in here just to get it started, so I know where I'm gonna start this thing, and then we're gonna just slowly work our way all the way around this thing, and we're gonna hope it lines up. I think it'll be all right, but let's just get started. Okay, so we got our outer stitch to our outsoles, and then we got our insoles fit real nice. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna put a solid layer of glue across the stitch, the stitch line and like the seam all the way around, and I'm gonna let that dry really well. And then I was debating if I was gonna glue in the insole, and I think I am, and I'm gonna do that before I do this upper stitch because it'll just be easier. It's all open, obviously. I can just access all of this really easily. So I'm gonna do that initial seam, let it cure for a little bit, and then I'm gonna do the whole bottom and the whole bottom of the insole. I'm gonna glue this whole thing in here, and I'm gonna put some weight in here, or I might just stand on it for a few minutes to make sure it really sticks really well. And then after we do that, I have this extra bit of a seam in the back of both of these. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the inside of that as well. I'm gonna just tape off each side, and then just do my best to get at least a little bit of something up in there, and then I'll make sure that I'll probably put it down like that and just put something on there to hold that in place for a few minutes and make sure that that seam is glued as best as it can be. I also did, before I stitched this, I put a little bit of a wax on that stitch to kind of make it a little bit tacky, so when I stitch it together that helps a little bit as well. And at the very end I will really wipe this thing down with some I'll do like a really nice lotion layer, and then I'll do a nice little bit of like a rub and wax type deal around the whole thing when I'm completely done. Another thing I was thinking as I was doing this, I put my foot in here to just see how it was fitting so far, and this is a little higher than I was initially wanting, but I think I'm just gonna finish it off how it is now. But I think if I do it again, I might cut like an inch or something off, because I wanted like a lower boot type thing. I feel like this is a little bit higher than this is more of like a high top shoe height, I feel. I'm just gonna finish it off, and you know, maybe the next one we'll do a little bit lower. I haven't done too much fitting of this top piece quite yet. I do feel like it's gonna be a little bit longer than I need. I might leave it, I might cut it. Either way, I'm gonna do it at the end after I stitch it up. This is gonna be kind of a pain to try and figure out how to make this centered and fit. I think again, like this, I didn't do too much measuring or anything. I just kind of set it up and it got, I mean, that's pretty close, you know, if not perfect. So I might do the same here, and I think it'll work out just fine. And I also got some of this cord. It's just like a soft, yeah, just like a soft cotton cord, like something you'd find like in hoodie strings or something. And I'm gonna use that for the laces at the very end. And we also still have to do this upper seam piece that'll finish it off really nice. Let's get to this glue in. We'll let it cure and make sure everything's glued in real nice. And then we'll do these final stitch pieces. Okay, we got our insoles glued in. Worked out just fine. I didn't think it would be weird or anything. We did that back seam as well. I got these upper and tongue pieces kind of clamped in place just to help me make sure I'm at least kind of close. As you can see here, we got quite a bit of overlay. I still want to do this outer edge piece, which will raise it just a little bit, you know, maybe another 1/4 inch off of this. But I'm gonna do that after I stitch this piece up, and then we'll trim this piece back just probably like a 1/2 inch, just a little bit, just to make it look more even. Now we're gonna sew these uppers on both sides, and then like I just said, we'll figure out this upper rim piece, and then we'll do the final cut and finish of everything, and we'll get some final shots. All the pieces are sewn up. I want to do one more final time lapse to trim back the tongue pieces so they're even and the same on both shoes. And then we'll do a final little touch up of some things. And then I want to punch some holes and get these laced up. And then we'll get some nice final shots. And then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. Alright, so there you have it. All completely done. As you just saw, the final shots. I'm I'm pretty happy, you know, I finished them, but there's quite a few things I'd like to change. The main is this weird profile. The ones I was looking at had quite a severe angle like this. I don't know, maybe it's just the way they were taken that there's more of an angle than it looks like. But I'm definitely gonna give this thing a go again. That being the main thing I'm gonna change. The profile and the toe needs to come down quite a bit. There's a lot more space in there than there needs to be. Another thing is I wanted these to be a little bit higher than like your classic low top moccasin, obviously. But I think somewhere in the middle there, you know, if I take out maybe 1 or 2 lace hole loops and bring it down, you know, a whole like inch and a quarter or something, I think it'd look a lot better. I do like the way that the top finished out the tongue amount here. I can still, you know, this is completely attached all the way to the top, but I can still slip my foot in there and out pretty easily. So, you know, all of that, it's pretty good. Like I just said though, but I just gotta change that angle. If you see there, the angle of that needs to be a little more like that. And then that brings me to the second point, which is that there's a little bit more space in this upper than there needs to be as well. I can take quite a bit out of that. Other than that, you know, just making a few changes just to the profile and overall look of the shoe itself. Other than that, it fits pretty well. This upper is a super thin stock leather, but it's still kind of stiff. I do think if you were to wear these over time, they would wear in really nice and it'd be fine. But when I do this again, I'm gonna change. I think the outer is fine and everything else is fine in leather, but I might do this upper in like a suede or like a faux leather that's a lot more flexible and gives a lot more. It'll be a lot more comfortable on the top of your foot. And one more thing is, I'm super happy with how these bottom outsoles came out. But having the nice side out, this is just super slick. Like walking around on my carpets and stuff is crazy. So maybe next time I'll have the rougher suede side out to give it more grip, and I think it'll just give a nice effect with if I change the upper to the suede as well, and it'll just, you know, give a nice contrast. Other than that, I'm pretty happy. Like I said, you know, this little tongue section came out nice. It looks good there, and I like this little edging piece I put around the edge on the top. That back seam looks good. They're opposite on both sides, so if you looked at them, they're mirrored. I made sure that looked all nice. I'm super happy with how this stitched to the bottom outsole. Again, I would just like to maybe flip that so there's more grip on the bottom. I'll definitely have to give it a try. If you want to see that happen, it'll probably just be in my normal socials. So go ahead and give me a follow and all that. But if you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. It really helps. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I'm always over here making things out of leather, art, home decor, who knows? Just like being creative. I'll see you on the next one.